Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 3 of Valkyrie Pro Wrestling. Now, of course, this is a pretty special and I would say historic episode as well. We are going to crown our first ever world champion. But first things first, I noticed when I was processing through between episodes that we upgraded to level 2 for merchandise. So what we're going to do, we're going to start upgrading to level 3. Like I said, as soon as we can get this, levels and levels higher than it is currently, we'll be making more money, which eventually in the long run, I know we're only, making $15 at the moment, but that should hopefully basically be doubled, I would think, up to at least 30. And of course, it's only going to increase the further we upgrade it. So doing that as soon as possible, while we technically still have money, would have to be a bit of a priority. Anyway, we also managed to get up to 2 popularity after the last show. And of course, this episode, we are also expecting to get up to 3. Now, before we actually get into the event, we have to create the title. So, we've got the VALPRO World title. And we've got a nice little belt here as well. I'll show you the belts here. We do have a tag team title. So I probably will eventually bring the tag belts in. But for now, while we have a relatively small roster, I think it's best just to maybe run with a, world heavyweight. I guess we'll call it the world heavyweight. There's going to be no men competing for it, but I guess there's going to be no real weight class for our women either, so it doesn't really matter. And then, of course, we also have an intercontinental belt there as well, which will be our mid-card title. So we'll implement that probably at some stage throughout the rest of the year, possibly even saving it maybe for the last event, Summer Sizzle or Summer Sizzler. Let me just double check that. Summer Sizzler. Okay, perfect. So I think we'll keep it for the season finale of our first year in charge of VALPRO. I think that'll be a pretty decent thing to do. Anyway, let's go back into this. We will call it the World Heavyweight. Just like that, and then we'll get the belt assigned here as well. There we go. It's a really, really nice looking, world title belt, in my opinion. Just, I think all 3 belts, I know they're all they're very similar, because they're obviously all gold, and they obviously have the logo of VALPRO. But I think they just look really clean, so full credit to the guy that made that. Don't know your name, unfortunately, but I should probably look that up. You can find everything here over on Grey Dog Software forums. And of course, there is an updated Women's Revolution sort of database as well within the Cverse, which you can download and play for yourselves. I'll probably be doing something with that database itself, or the database extension. I'm thinking maybe a live stream series, purely just over on Twitch. But that probably will come once this series is finished, or at least once one of the 2 series is finished. And obviously, local to global, we've still got a long way to go. Anyway, so yeah, any type of matches, it doesn't really matter there. Obviously, female only. Like I said, there's not going to really be any minimum or maximum weight. So I think we're ready to go. There we go. The VALPRO World Heavyweight title, starting on 30 prestige, which is similar to the Fateful 8 tournament trophy. But hopefully we can get that bumped up to at least, I think 40 would be a good starting point after this first match. Let's get into the show. We did upgrade our merchandise, and we've now actually created the title belt as well. We don't really have anything to do, so we put a rib there onto Calliope Woodchuck, and it's successful. The rib has gone down well with the rest of the locker room. And luckily, there's no blowback there either from Calliope. Anyway, as per usual, we're going to be, I think for the rest of our future in New South Wales, which is our state region, we're going to be running in Sydney. I think that's, there are other locations like Canberra. Canberra is actually the capital of Australia, if you didn't know that. It is, it's technically its own territory as well. But it is within the state of New South Wales. just a little fun fact for you there as well. There's also Newcastle, which is like a pretty nice sort of beach city, about 2 hours outside of Sydney. You got Wollongong down there as well, which is like the south coast. Very nice beaches out there as well. About an hour away, maybe an hour and 15 out of Sydney. I guess maybe we could run a few shows in these other regions. But obviously Sydney is going to be the most logical place for us to run. It is essentially our home. Yeah, it's our home. So there we go. Anyway, let's book that main event first. I want to try and get it out of the way. So it is going to be Itsuko Ariyoshi taking on Calliope Woodchuck. Face versus heel. We are going to give it 20 minutes. And we are going to crown our first ever world champion. I think it's pretty cool that we're doing it on episode 3. Because, you know, more often than not, you would probably assume that it would be done almost straight away from episode 1. But I kind of like that. And we also can't have this match called. It is going to need to be scripted, so there we go. I like that match, though. I think it's going to be beneficial. Let me just check Itsuko. Can she cut a promo? She can. But can she speak English, at least basically? Yeah, she can. She speaks passable English. Okay, well that's really good. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think I will give her a promo prior to that main event as well. Let me book that in straight away. In case I forget. Yeah, good to see that she can speak passable English. That's perfect. Alright, so for the rest of the show, I think we're gonna run with the tag team match. Like I said, we do have tag team title belts, so we should probably run with some tag teams. But like I said, once we get up to maybe tiny size, which is the size above insignificant, that's maybe when we'll start to bring in maybe 2 or 3 tag teams. Technically, we do already have a tag team with Debbie Rose and, where is she? Kate Lilly. So I think for this match, we'll run with them. So they are the heels. And I think that they can maybe take on, I think, Thea Davis and Ruby Reese. We'll put these two together. Got a Canadian and an English woman taking on an American and another Canadian, I believe. That's pretty cool. We'll give them 12 minutes. We'll give them a decent amount of time. And I think I want to give Thea the victory there, because I think Thea Davis is going to be one of our big stars very, very soon. And she'll probably be finding herself in contention for the world title very early on within these next few events. Now, it is worth mentioning that our next event, I'm not sure if I can see it here, if I go back to the... I can't. But our next event, I believe, is Joshi Invasion. So we're going to be bringing in some other workers, which will be interesting. Anyway, we're going to go with Rekka, and she is going to take on Aki Cameo. So we'll give that match 10 minutes as well there. We are going to make Rekka the victor. Like I said, I want her to go on a little bit of a dominating run. She is kind of the biggest. She might actually be the biggest. She is a middleweight, which is, I think, upwards of about 180 pounds. I'm just kind of wondering who else would actually... Yeah, because everybody else seems to be small, or, you know, even below. What about Ruby? So she's a lightweight. I think lightweight is above. Yeah, so Thea Davis lightweight as well. Got small there for Debbie, and own small there for Kate Lilly as well. So yeah, Rekka... No, I exited out of the match, but Rekka does have a bit of a size advantage over most of our roster. Yeah, lightweight there for Black Diamond as well. Joy Rider is a small size as well. Yeah, she is definitely the biggest on our roster at the moment. And she's going to be pretty dominant. You might be able to, I guess, assume where I'm probably going to be going with the way that I'm booking Rekka. Anyway, so for our angle, I think we'll go with an angle for Debbie Rose and Kate, I think. think we'll probably script this one just to make sure, because I think one of them doesn't have very good entertainment skills. We'll give them a little bit of success there as well, and advance that storyline. We are just going to continue running with the Fateful 8 storyline, at least until we get some more members on the roster. It's basically just everyone, or pretty much everyone, being involved. I think Rekka and Joy are the only two that are not involved. Do we want to give... I think we want to give Rekka an angle as well. Maybe a menace angle. Let's do that and see what happens. Can only be 4 minutes long, but that's perfectly fine. I think we'll have that open the show. Obviously, with the menace there. It's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll make this match here the Steal the Show match. Because obviously we're pretty much required every show to have either a high spots match or a Steal the Show match. And I don't really think Rekka taking on Cameo is going to be all that good as either a high spots or a Steal the Show. But apart from that, the rest of the show looks pretty good. Of course, we're getting this booking analysis penalty, but that is because we don't have any announcers or color commentators. But as you can see, they're not necessary for our size. So it's not really a problem we have to worry about. It's just the only thing that's going to prevent this little bar here, the start show bar, from going green. Anyway, we open the show with a 15 rated menace angle. So obviously that looks really bad. But at the same time, it's not that bad because Rekka has, I think she had maybe either 2 or 3 popularity in New South Wales. But yeah, it's a menace angle. She's just, you know, like I said, she's the biggest member of the roster. She's got the menace. She's just an intimidating figure. Like I said, think of her as like an Awesome Kong. And when other women see Awesome Kong coming, they kind of, you know, crap themselves, for lack of a better term. They're not too happy whenever a big woman that has, you know, some serious power as well is going to be either around them or wrestling them. So, yeah. Okay, well, the match is not much better. We get a 16, so it's only 1 point above. But we do have Rekka defeating Aki Cameo in 11:46 by pinfall with a sit-out powerbomb. So, it's a pretty badass finisher right there from Rekka. But as you can see, she was really off her game. So, I think that... Wasn't she off her game in her debut match as well? I think she was in the last episode. That's pretty frustrating. Anyway, the bout dragged in the middle with a lack of flow. Essentially, there's not enough psychology between these two workers, so you're going to get a lack of flow when that sort of happens. Unfortunate, but there's, you know, again, we've gone with, you know, younger workers, you know, senior workers. Every now and then, our young workers, due to the size of our roster, they're going to have to verse each other. And these things are sort of... They're going to happen, at least for the first maybe 2 years, I would say, until they start to get some training and, you know, eventually or gradually get themselves up to a better level. It's not a terrible match, but it's also not very good either. Luckily, she is getting better at a gimmick. So, you know, she started off with that poor gimmick, now getting better, and hopefully, you know, I mean, that's another reason why she's probably not doing too well. Moving into a 25 rated angle from Debbie Rose and Kate Lilly. I guess I should probably just add them together as their proper or their official tag team. Because they are tag team specialists. So they would technically get a bonus. I want to see if that'll come up in this next match. It's a very good match. We get a 44, so it potentially could steal the show, as it was meant to do. But we do have Thea Davis and Ruby Reese defeating Debbie Rose and Kate Lilly in 12:24 when Thea pinned Debbie Rose with a flying elbow drop. And yeah, Ruby Reese being the weak link, but still putting in a 25 in-ring performance. That's actually not too bad. But as you can see here, they did indeed get a tag team specialist bonus there as well. And the match got the crowd buzzing. So it definitely did its job. And I think overall it's a really good match. Standout being Kate Lilly as well. the Canadian, with a solid 45 in-ring. Then we had a 40 there from Debbie as well. But don't forget, this is because of their tag team specialist. They do get a bit of a boost in their performance rating. And of course, we had Thea there with a 37 in-ring. Not too shabby. I think once Thea gets some popularity behind her, she'll be decent. You know, she'll be putting in decent performances. Okay. We then go into a 21 rated angle. I probably should have scripted this one. I thought I wouldn't do it just because it might, benefit us. But seeing this, unfortunately, Etsuko Ariyoshi was very poor when trying to improvise her dialogue. So I think if we give her angles in the future, they're going to need to be scripted. But basically, she comes out first holding the Fateful 8 trophy in her hand. And she says that this trophy is a representation of what she is going to do in Valkyrie Pro Wrestling. She says tonight she's going to win the world title. She's going to have the title belt on one hand or over one shoulder. And she's going to have the trophy in the other hand. And she's going to carry that through the rest of the year and be the most dominant champion VALPRO will ever have. And of course, she has the potential to become the first ever champion as well. That's a really good main event. We get a 53 rated match. I think that might be equal to the original Fateful 8 final. Which is very good. Pleasant surprise as well. But we do have Etsuko Ariyoshi defeating Calliope Woodchuck in 20 minutes and 3 seconds by submission with an Ariyoshi lockdown. Etsuko wins the VALPRO World Heavyweight title. Very impressive stuff. Very impressive stuff. And like we saw before, Etsuko and Calliope have great chemistry. So we obviously saw that during the semi-final match between the two. And of course, we've decided to capitalize on it a little bit more and gotten a very, very solid rated main event here. And a nice 57 in-ring there from Etsuko. Unfortunately, only a 31 there from Calliope Woodchuck, but she's only going to get better. She's only going to get better. And I think that she, along with Thea Davis, they're probably going to be our two, at least for now, our two-star faces that we're going to use going forward. I think Ruby Reese will probably be just behind those two. But again, we need to use Ruby Reese and try and build her up as far as momentum and stuff goes. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, let's end the show. We get a 43 rated show, so I still feel like that's pretty impressive. I know we had a couple of stinkers at the beginning of the show with Rekka. But overall, I mean, that main event and that tag team match we had, I think that really is quite impressive. Obviously, the angles are not so good. We kind of need to, possibly find something, when it comes to angles. Maybe someone, I think Calliope did have a 30 rated angle on the show on the last episode. Before that Fatal 4-Way main event. So I'm thinking we might want to try and lean towards Calliope Woodchuck when it comes to angles for our shows. Anyway, I'm going to once again praise Etsuko. I think we'll praise Calliope there as well. And then finally, I think we'll go for Kate Lilly. She was very impressive with that 45 in her tag team match as well. So I'm pretty happy with how things are going so far. Hopefully you guys are as well. I just want to take a quick little look at some popularity and the title prestige as well. So we've also got a Ruby Reese opinion here. And she thinks that Aki cameo isn't tough enough for the business and we should release her and find a real worker. All right, Ruby, tell us how you really feel. Wow. What's her toughness? Okay, Ruby Reese has got 71 toughness. And obviously Aki cameo, it's only 20. It's only 20. But you know what? I like Aki. I'm sure you guys like her as well. And as you can see, she is a promising young Joshi worker. And she wasn't even with 5-star as well. As you can see, in her description here, it says that she has been a regular on the independent circuit since turning professional and seems like a lock to eventually turn up in 5-star. So potentially working for VALPRO might actually put her onto 5-star's radar. Be very cool. Anyway, let's check the title prestige first of all. Like I said, I'm hoping it's up to 40. Okay, still on 30. I really was expecting that to go up a little bit, but I don't think it has. So that's interesting. Obviously, title defenses will probably see it start to slowly rise up. But yeah, I mean, the Fateful 8 tournament title was on a 30. It shot up to a 43, so I was almost expecting a similar sort of thing to happen there. Anyway, let's check some popularity. Basically, I just want to check Thea, who's up to 10 pop now as well. That's very impressive. I'm happy about that. It's another 2 points for this month. Etsuko, also up to 10. That's very decent. Unfortunately, only up 1 popularity, despite having an angle and winning the World Heavyweight title. Calliope's up to an 8. Not too sure where she was at. So she was at a 7. So I'm really happy to see her gain a point of popularity, despite actually losing that world title match. Rekka's up to a 7, which is up 1 point. Yeah, let's have a look at Ruby Reese. So she's up to 4, which is obviously still pretty low. But it looks like she's gaining 1 point of popularity per month, or per show. That's it's not too bad either. Also worth mentioning that Black Diamond, of course, did recover from that injury in the first episode. Actually, she recovered before the last episode, didn't she? Yeah. Anyway, size. Well, there you go. Would you look at that? We're up to 4 popularity in 3 shows. That is what free ticket pricing does for a company of this size. We gain 2 points of popularity in 1 show. In 1 show. Incredible stuff. I mean, the progress we're already making is incredible. I'm super, super pleased to see that. Because in my head, I thought it was going to be, stable 1 point per show. But it looks like maybe every 3 shows, we might actually gain 2 points. Now, that'll speed things up considerably. It really will. Anyway, that is going to be it for the episode, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Again, these episodes are much, much shorter compared to the local to global. But I wanted to have a little bit of a difference. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the shorter episodes. Hopefully some of you guys that don't watch local to global are enjoying these episodes. They are much shorter. I understand some people don't want to spend, an hour and 20 minutes watching one video, whereas these sort of 20 to 25 minute videos are probably much more suited to you guys. Anyway, if you could smash the like button, be much appreciated, guys. I really want to thank you for all the support recently, all the new subs, all the new people commenting on the videos as well. Of course, there's obviously a lot of familiar faces that I've seen around. And yeah, thank you. Apart from that, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, with the notification bell turned on. Still only about 9% of subscribers having that bell turned on. So please do that. It'll basically just notify you when one of these videos does come out. Apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy and goodbye.